Hi folks, it's me again, Pat, aka Bow Bender on Archery Talk. Today I want to demonstrate how we can do a dual color center serving on a bowstring. Now there's no real functional value on having a dual color center serving. Some people think it looks cool, so I'm going to demonstrate how that's done. Before we get started, I want to show you how the emerald bobbin works. This is the bobbin that we'll be using today in the demonstration. It's called the Emerald. I sell this on my website, NWSpinner.com. That's NWSpinner.com. And let me just quickly go through the feature set. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, how does that tension the thread? Well, it's simple. The shaft itself has a slot cut in it. And when you tighten down your tensioning nut, it pulls the bolt down into the shaft and separates it. Okay? So what that does is it creates pressure on the inside of the spool. Now that center hole that's in the spool is actually manufactured pretty consistently, so we get a great little tension on the emerald itself. So that takes care of the tensioning. Let's talk a little bit about the threading. First of all, there's no loose parts when you're changing out your thread. Nothing's going to fall on the floor, nothing to chase underneath your bench. It's all completely self-contained, okay? And the other thing that's unique is that the tensioning rods that are in the unit are at a 90 degree from what the conventional bobbins are. So it's a lot easier to thread up. Lastly, there is a slot that the thread goes into. There are several other models on the market that have a slot. What's different about this unit is that there's a retaining bolt here. When you put the thread in this slot, it doesn't pop back out. On some of the other units, it's constantly popping out of that little slot, and it's really kind of annoying to work with. But not the Emerald. That holds it in there really tight. Now we'll demonstrate that. So first off, I'll demonstrate how to thread up the unit. Put our thread on the shaft, and you can see it spins pretty freely. Okay, so to add tension to the unit, simply tighten that down, and now there's quite a bit of tension on that unit. Okay, then to thread it up, we simply wrap around this bolt, then that one, behind the retaining bolt, and into the slot. Okay, once that's in there, it doesn't come back out. It's in there. You actually have to pull it all the way back through the slot to get it out of there. Okay, so the retaining bolt holds it in the slot really tightly, and now it's completely threaded up. Now, oh gee, I didn't really want white, I wanted green. Let's go ahead and put green in there. There you are. That's how quick it is to change out your thread. What'd that take? 15-20 seconds? And we're good to go. So that's the Emerald bobbin. Once again, can be found on NWSpinner.com. Okay, let's go to the dual thread, or dual color thread that I put on the Emerald. You can see here I have two colors of thread wound onto a spool. I used a drill to put that on there with, and I tried to keep it as consistent as possible so that we minimize twists. Any twists in these two threads as they're moving through the unit could potentially get transferred onto the string, and we don't want that. So I try to keep that consistent. And then the next thing that I'm going to do to help with that consistency is to do each color separately. So I'm going to thread up the green thread first. Okay, green thread's on there, and then we're going to put the purple thread on there. Okay, now they're going to run through the unit in parallel, and they come out of the top of the unit in parallel. And you're going to make an attempt to keep those parallel all the way through, and that'll give you the best design on the string itself. So let's go ahead and put that on the string. One of the things that I find to be helpful is to tie a knot in the end of this when you're working with it, because that helps make it function as a single thread instead of two threads. But other than that, it's just tying it on the string like you would a normal. Serving. The only unique thing is that I have to try to keep the two threads parallel and untwisted as I'm putting them on so I get a consistent design look. Once you get the bobbin all the way up against the string, it'll keep it from spinning and you'll get it more, it'll be a lot easier to keep them from twisting. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this through and get it tight. Now I expect that that's pretty much the way that you put your threads on your center servings as well. So we're going to go ahead and cut this knot off here because that's just going to get in the way later. Now, some of you wrap that all the way in underneath your servings. I'm going to leave that out and I'm going to heat it up. Create a mushroom to keep it on there. Okay, so now we have that started. And you can go ahead and wrap the rest of this by hand if you'd like, but I like to use an automated system, and I also designed the NWSpinner. This is also available on NWSpinner.com. And the way that that guy functions is you put it in there, slide the bobbin in there, and snap it in place. I have a model of these for the beater bobbin, obviously the emerald bobbin, bear paw, and for limited time the cartels. Now you could go ahead and do that by hand all the way down through as well, but I'm going to use a drill to expedite. Now, one of the things that you'll find is that this goes a lot faster when you're using two threads because you're putting down twice as much thread at once. So that's a pretty quick process with the two threads. Now, you'd finish off this end the same way you did this end. You'd put a normal whip stitch in it and complete the center serving. So let's give you a close-up of what that looks like. There you have it. Dual colored center serving. Remember, have fun, good luck, and shoot straight.